Hello and welcome to this How To Trophies 100% walkthrough guide for the game. Just ignore them. Just ignore them. It's a point and click old school game which is driven by story, so you'll be making multiple choices and there are branching paths. We will go ahead and start a new game. There are no chapter selects in this game, so you'll have to make several saves in order to unlock all the trophies. We will progress by the easiest possible path and then we will go back and unlock the trophies that we need to unlock in the right order in order to finish the game in the quickest possible time. So just quickly, if you skip through the text, you can simply just press X to get this off the screen. You also have an inventory which will appear at the top of the screen. As we load in, you can see the character. If you hover over things, you'll have an exclamation mark. This means that you can interact with that. So as you go, just interact with the toy box and then again with the bed. This will be part of your first trophy. We will just skip through most of the dialogue in this game, but you can obviously take it at your own speed if that's what you wish to do. There are trophy timestamps in the description below in order for you to pick out which trophies you need to get. So now we've woken up, we will move out of the room and through the door. The TV will come on. To interact with the inventory, simply move your icon to the top of the screen and that will pop down. You'll see you've got, at this point, you need to interact with your inventory and make our first save. So this will form the basis of what we do in the game, and we'll need to reload these saves at periodic times. So once the save is complete, we're going to go ahead and interact with the television. This will give some more dialogue. And then we're going to choose yes to switch off the TV. I will try and keep this commentary as light as possible in order for it to best follow the flow of the game. Here's your first trophy. They are here, and the TV will switch off. At this point, we need to go up and we need to reload our previous save. So click on the save and then on the load button. Now we're back in the room where we were previously. The telly is still on. So we're going to need to interact with the television again. But this time, we're going to press no. So remember to press no this time. And we'll interact with the teddy bear. And the closet will open, obviously hearing a noise. Click on the teddy again. And then on the closet that has been opened. At this point, we'll try and exit the room again. And the ghost will come out of the closet. So once we're in the hallway, we're going to interact with the dresser to find a screwdriver, and that will go into our inventory. Then interact with the linen closet, where you'll find the ghost again and he will abduct you, and this will be your second trophy. As we just wait for that trophy to unlock. I don't like surprises. There is another trophy within this room, so once that trophy has gone, we will move over to the picture frame on the far right hand side to unlock the third trophy in this area. There we are, that's just popped. And now we've completed all the trophies for this little bit of area, and then we can move on. So you're going to want to enter the kitchen. I have a little bit of a trouble finding this, but it is in the bottom right, just below where we are now. So once you've located the kitchen, simply click and enter it, and then we'll go into this next area. So you have some messages, and then we want to go up to and click on the phone. Once we've done that, we want to make another save. So again, make a separate save. As we need to come back to this point, simply try and go through the doors. You'll see some blood splattering on the outside. Some hibbies should stay inside. You definitely should. And you'll unlock the next trophy. I better stay inside. Which makes sense. Again, we want to go back. We want to load our original save before we interacted with that window. And now we want to go and interact with the TV remote. Interact with the TV remote in order to find some batteries that will go into our inventory. Once those have dropped into our inventory, you need to match the batteries with the robot, which is in the top left. These will merge them together, and then we're going to go and interact with the trash can on the far right and the kitchen drawer under the microwave in the top right. And then we're going to go back to the main hall. Now you've got the robot, it's powered, drop it in the corridor next to the closet that we opened previously. And now you can trick the ghost. And now we'll pick up a note that the ghost has left, or a postcard. And it gives us a location that we can go to for a birthday party. Once the scene is reset, you can move into your bedroom. Get the lavender scent and put it by the mouse hole. And then put a small ladder against the wall in order to climb through the vent. So we'll need also a screwdriver. So grab the screwdriver and we'll go through the vent and into the next area. This is a little maze type ventilation shaft. So we need to go to the bathroom. But we'll get rid of the screwdriver and I'll interact with the bathroom to move the character through to that area. So we're now in the bathroom. Interact with the bathroom cupboard. And we found our next object. And then click on the toilet and we'll say, yes, we want to go to the toilet. The toilet will trap us and we'll get our next trophy. There we are, down the toilet. The scene will reload and the trophy will unlock. I don't really need to go. Interact with the toilet again, but this time press no. And then leave the bathroom to the main hall using the door. Go back into your bedroom. And interact with the drawer. Remember the number 840. This will come in handy later. Then again we'll use the screwdriver on the vent. And we'll go back through the vent again. Again, remember to unequip the screwdriver. And this time we'll interact with a slot that we saw on the ventilation shaft previously. This will yield the number 910. So those numbers will come in handy for later, as it will be a combination for part of a future level. We'll go into an office room. I'll go try and go into the office room, but it's locked. You'll unlock it with the combination. In the office, we'll make another save. So this should be our third save that we've made so far. And then we will use a piece of the postcard on the photo frame, which will create a whole picture. And again, remember the numbers. And that looks a trophy for mysterious photo. Again, we're going to load the game. Make sure you load the one you made before. Don't load any earlier ones. So we're back in the room. We'll use the piece of the photo in the inventory to make a full picture. And then we'll put that inside the photo frame. We now get a different set of numbers. And another trophy. Plenty of trophies unlocking at the start of this game. I'm going to exit the room. You should have the key to unlock this in your inventory, and you should be able to go through the door and interact with your mum. This will be a short dialogue scene. And then another trophy will unlock called This Is All a Bad Dream. Again, there's a section of dialogue, so you can just skip through until we get to the next section. So we're going through these dialogue boxes. Please remember to give us a subscribe, a like and a share. Also drop us a comment in the comment section below. This all helps towards improving our channel and your viewer engagement, so thank you. Once the next scene starts, you'll be in a diner, having a conversation with the waitress or server. Again, just simply skipping through the dialogue scenes and clicking yes. This is quite a bit of dialogue to skip through before we move on to our next phase. So as the screen fades to black and goes to the next scene, you will unlock a new trophy called GASP, You Told. And then we'll be making our way through the rest of the dialogue options in this next scene, where you're simply just driving through what looks like a desert to get to your next location. This game is quite bleak, so you will get quite a disturbing image in the middle of the drive. Then just move through some more dialogue options in order to start the next scene. So we're here, it's raining, we're at a motel. So we need to get out of the rain to start with. Another trophy will unlock when you've arrived called Welcome to the DAYFIELD Motel. This game is quite generous with its trophies. There are 34 to collect, so there are plenty to go at. So simply go into the reception and you're going to want to talk to Old Bill. Again, skip through his dialogue options and then exit the room. Going to want to go to your inventory. You have a key and that is the far left room. So get you inside out of the rain. Once inside, interact with the toilet again to get the trophy Interesting Concept. 2 toilet-based trophies there. Go and click on the bed to get some more dialogue options and just skip through these until we get to the next part. Once you've exhausted all the options, you'll be back in the room again. You're going to want to go outside the motel and click on the window next to your door. This should unlock another trophy called Mind Your Own Business. There are another couple of trophies in this area, so we'll be getting those shortly. And then we'll go back into Old Bill's area. You can see that he's now gone. Go to the key saves at the back. Key rack, sorry. And then go outside. Go all the way down to the front right and go along the path. And there's another door. You've now got a key after interacting with the key rack, and this should open the workshop door. Inside this workshop, you'll see several different things to interact with. We want to interact with the poster on the left first. This looks to be of a female, which unlocks a trophy, nice poster. You're going to want to interact with the lawnmower to get a lawnmower blade. And then the workshop bench to pick up a can of oil. use the oil on the blade, and then use the blade to crowbar up the metal square in the far left corner with the blood on the corner. You do need to be next to the hatch in order to crowbar it open, and not like I was. Once you're next to the hatch with the crowbar, it should work, and then you should enter the next section, where you are adjacent to a room with a female showering. You're going to want to interact with the camera. You're finding this bit of a little bit of a creepy scene. That's because it is. You're going to take the tape out, and the ghost is going to appear again in the shower with the young lady. Going to make a save at this point, so this should be our 4th save. And then we want to exit the building through the floor hatch. Old Bill will be at the top when we come out of the floor hatch. Some more dialogue options to skip through. And you're going to choose yes. And this will unlock the trophy, Be Kind, Rewind. Again, this game has quite a lot of dark themes. Click on the barbecue to pick up your next item. And then go to the left, back to the courtyard. Go into room 3, which is the one that's just above you. And this is the room that the lady was showering in. As you open the door, you can interact with the young lady. Skip through the dialogue options. There are quite a few. And then you'll end up outside the room and unlock the trophy, Sorry to Barge In. Already at trophy 15. So nearly halfway there for trophies already. Then head back to your room at the top left. You'll see that the character is now in your room as well, the lady. Go through the door and interact with her again. I'm going to click No this time. And then that's going to unlock Feeling Lovesick. And then you're going to want to exit back into the courtyard and go back to your pickup truck. You can't start it because the battery has been pinched, so go back into room 3. The room is now empty. And you can use the coal on the fireplace. You then want to exit the room and go back into your original room in the far left. The female is now in the bed. Bree. And then go back outside and back into room 3 again. There's a lighter now in the inventory, so simply light the fire. And then exit into the courtyard. Go back to the toolbox in your truck. And then back to the right hand side to Bill's workshop. Interact with the key again to open the workshop door. And then you're going to want to use the screwdriver on the electrical power box. You managed to open the power box, so you're going to sabotage what Bill's doing. Click on the washing machine to pick up another component. you've now got a battery which can go onto the power box. So put the battery to the power box and then leave the room. Go back into the courtyard and back to your truck. Use the battery that you've just powered up on the truck in order to fix the truck and be able to drive away. First, however, you need to try and save Bree, so go back into your room at the top left. Go through some more dialogue choices with Bree. And then you'll meet old Bill on your way out. Bill will get disintegrated or eaten by the ghostly figure, and then you'll go back on to driving on the desert highway. Yourself and Bree, quite a few dialogue choices to skip through here. And then we'll move into the next area shortly. So we find ourselves in a pub, complete with bar and pool table or snooker table. Skip through all the dialogue choices between yourself and Bree. Once these come to an end, the screen will fade to black and you'll get another trophy called Drink Your Sorrows Away. Again, once this trophy has disappeared, simply click through the dialogue options. And we'll find ourselves on an aeroplane. So we tried to get away from this ghostly thing that keeps chasing us down and appearing. So again, once the scene reloads, we'll be able to interact with the top curtain or door. Keep moving forwards and click through the next door. So go into the toilets. So here I have a bit of a moment. You don't need to use the toilet roll yet. You actually need to enter the female restroom before you can use the next object. So you do need to click on the base where the female icon is in order to enter this room. It took me a little while to figure out actually how to get inside. Once inside, you can do what I tried to do previously, which was get the duct tape and put it over the smoke detector. This should allow you to smoke your cigarette. So equip your cigarettes and your lighter. And skip through the next dialogue choices as you smoke your cigarette. After that finishes, go back south and south again. Or down. Now the plane is empty. Where you had previously been. The panel is now flashing at the top. So go and interact with that. There are dialogue options to go through, quite a few. And then interact with the curtain on the left side, or door. Can't decide what those are. Run through the dialogue options and again go back to the south and click on the panel that's flashing again. This will initiate a second conversation with the pilot. And then you're going to want to go back south through the curtain again, or door. And then click on the ladder to descend that into the next part. You'll see a flashing thing in front of you. Simply click on that and you'll pick up your next item. You're going to want to then return through the door to the north. And then north again through the door. Interact with the strange passenger. Give them the digital camera. This will cue the next bit of dialogue. Then drop your digital camera and move again north. And then north again for the next door. And then back south once you've finished the dialogue options. South again through the door. And then south through the next door. Quite a bit of moving up and down this plane at the moment. There is another door below the lockers, so go into that and you'll be in the cockpit. Here there are some dialogue to skip through. Once that's finished, go back out and interact with the door again to move north. That inventory thing is very annoying. And then move north again. And again, back to the top of the plane, and then through that door, and then you'll see a scene where somebody has been murdered. The ghost appears, and then you are strange to find that you're alive. And then you unlock the trophy. Are you afraid? Go through this door here. Again, I'm struggling to interact with the hatch, so make sure door hatch is illuminated before you can click to go through it. Then there'll be some more dialogue that you can click through. And then go into the plane fuselage. Gonna want to go south here a couple of times. And then into this room. So you'll see what looks like a possible severed body. They've dropped a candy bar, so pick that up. Or come in useful later. Then go all the way back to the top and back into the main part of the plane. Back through the door hatch and south into the restrooms. And then back again into economy class. Back into business class. And then all the way through. And back into the cockpit to interact with the pilot. There are quite a lot of dialogue bits to skip through here. But once these end, we'll start with the next bit. So when the screen comes back, the trophy will unlock called Stop Copying Me. Which should be our 19th trophy. We'll then go back into the plane business class and back into the seating area. Again, moving north into the economy class, and again all the way north back into the restroom area. Going to go to the doors on the right, the supply closet, and we're going to get the batteries and put them in the camera, in the inventory. And then we're going to interact with the door to the rear of the plane where we saw the previous murder. Click on the body. Go back through the door hatch. And then back down the stairs. So we'll keep heading south down to the room that we previously got the candy bar from. Click on the camera and put it on the box. Get the candy bar and put it on the vent. Hopefully going to load the monster out at this point. And congratulations, we've loaded them out and taken a picture. Then we're going to need to move back north, all the way back to the plane rear. Back through the door hatch. Back into the restrooms. Into economy class. All the way through business class. And into the front of the plane. Back to the cockpit with the pilot to find out there's actually nobody there. You'll see the flashing thing at the far left. Click on that on the shelf to pick up your next object. This is a gun. We'll definitely need this for later on in the game. Spoiler alert. And click on the hatch next to the shelves that you've just been on, and you'll be in the next area. Make sure you make a save when you're in this next area, as there are some important choices to make going forwards. So once you've made the save, give the gun to Mark. There'll be a few bits of dialogue to skip through at this point. And then Mark will be gone. And the trophy dinner reservation for 2 will be unlocked. Move back over and load your previous game save. And again, interact with Mark. Go through the dialogue again. This time he will be gone without the gun. So go through the heavy doors to the right of you. You're going to need to use the door controls to do that. Once you've got through the doors, head all the way north and into the rear of the plane. Then through the door hatch and back through the plane into the restrooms. Make another save here. Plenty of saving at this point to get multiple branching story arcs. Once the save is completed, go through the door to the south and the south again. Keep going south until you get a cutscene. Skip through the dialogue choices and click yes. Nielsen will be killed and the ghoul or ghost will appear. And then I Shot the Sheriff trophy will be unlocked. Once that's unlocked, we need to go back and load our previous save that we made just a couple of minutes ago. Once you've loaded that, go back and follow the same path you did previously through economy class into business class. And then, as if you're going to go back into the front of the plane, the cutscene will start again. Skip through the dialogue options, and then we're going to want to choose no. Again, the ghost will appear from behind Neeson, sorry. And this time you will see Neeson being killed by the ghost. Or Spectre, or whatever it is. Once that finishes, go back south through the door and then into the plane cockpit. This time Mark will be at the controls of the plane. Skip through the dialogue choices. And then go back out into the plane bit and then back into business class. I'm going to go north again into economy and then into the restrooms and finally to the rear of the plane. Through the door hatch and back down into the plane luggage area. Keep heading south until you get to the point where you have the dead thing. Then a cutscene will start where you end up back in the cockpit with Mark. Skip through all the dialogue choices and then sit in the co-pilot seat. There'll be a trophy for Fear of Flying and a few more dialogue options to come. Once you've skipped through these dialogue options, the next scene should start. We're on a subway and the next trophy should unlock. Once you've skipped through all the commentary. Called I Hate the Subway. And that's unlocked now. So we're in one of the final areas of the game. So talk to the blonde-haired lady, Bree. And go through the door to the left. Now you're in your house. You'll get very familiar with this house because there's a few endings to be had while you're inside the house. So go upstairs. Click on the first door, the creation room. Click through the dialogue options. Or just the dialogue, to be fair. Once that's finished, go back outside to the upstairs and back downstairs. And then ultimately back all the way outside. Click on Bree again for some more dialogue. This will send you to a cutscene back in what looks like the therapist's room. Or doctor or chemist, I'm not sure. It's quite a chemistry set that Bree stood in by there. So a lot of dialogue at this point. Just skipping through that until we get to the next point that we need to move. When we get to the end, there will be a choice of yes or no. This time, click yes. After some more dialogue, you should be back in control of Bree, and the Lust trophy will pop. And then we can continue with the rest of the story. So head out of the room, and then you'll suddenly be Mark rather than Bree, and head into the bathroom to the right. Interact with the toilet for a third time. You'll find a red key card, and then interact with the door to go outside. Go back into the creation room at the far left. And click on the bookshelf to find your next inventory item. Then back outside or upstairs, and then back downstairs. Then interact with the door to the dining room. Once the dialogue options are finished, go to the microwave. You'll find your next inventory item. Then interact with the workbench on the left to pick up another item. Then click on the drawer on the far left to find another keycard. And then back into the foyer. Go back upstairs again. And back into the creation room. A panel will have opened at the top of the room. Make sure you save at this point. Interact with the painting. And enter the code 0000, which is the wrong password. And then you get the trophy for haha wrong. Simply load the game. And now we want to enter the right password into the painting. So that's 0419. And that unlocks the safe. And there's a cassette player behind the painting with no tape in it. So now we're going to have to find the tape. Another trophy is unlocked called a tape recorder. And then we can exit the room back to the upstairs. Coming towards the end of the game now, so interact with the statue on the right. Get the jewel and put it to the statue. It will fit inside it and it will move back to reveal a secret hatch. Now we're inside this secret hatch. Move north, just as far as the icon will let you before it brings up the inventory. And eventually you'll hit a big door. You've now got 3 key cards, so use first the yellow, then the blue, and then the red. We don't have a red key card. Oh no, we do have a red key card, sorry. So put the red key card, and it's a green one this time. We don't have a green key card, that was what I meant earlier. So you have to combine the 2 blue and yellow together in order to make a green key card. So now we have the green key card. It will work and we'll be able to open the doors. Make a save at this point, as we'll need to come back here again to get another variant of the story. So open the blast doors to move into the area to find Bree in a floating test tube. Click through all the dialogue and click on Do It. And exit to the lab hallway and then keep going south and back down the ladder at the end of the level. Back into the creation room and to the chemistry workbench to pick up a flask. We're going to retrace our steps all the way back to the laboratory that we exited a bit ago. So again, back north through the blast doors. This time we don't need to use the key cards, as the door's already open. You're going to want to interact with the formula vial with the bench on the left hand side. Oh, sorry, that's actually a person. And there's going to be a few dialogue options. You're going to interact with both of them, and then the ghoul or ghost is going to appear. And then just watch this as the ending unravels. Once you finish the dialogue options, the screen will fade to black. And then you will receive the bad ending for the trophy Mum ? So again, just click through all the dialogue, as that's your first ending achieved, the bad ending. So let's go after some of the good endings, or the good ending. At this point we will be taken back to the title screen, so we need to load our most previous save and go back through the blast doors. We need to restart the dialogue with Bree in the test tube. This was before we went and got the formula, so this time we're going to choose wait. So once you've chosen that, interact with the paper on the wall or the note, and then go back into the hallway. We're going to move south and down the ladder, and back into the creation room. Once in there, you're going to want to interact with the workbench to pick up the formula. But then use the formula on the workbench to make some changes to it in order to not have the bad ending. So you've now got a different formula. So go back to the upstairs and then retrace your steps back to the lab to give them this formula that you've now recreated as to not make Bree go all evil. So back through the blast doors, and again use the formula on Dave and then click through the dialogue options and you'll see a different ending. So once the scene reloads, you'll have much of the similar as you did last time. Dave will be killed, and also this time the ghost ghoul will also be eradicated. And Bree will go back to being normal again. And then we'll unlock the trophy, the love potion, and you'll be back in bedroom with Bree on the bed. Now there's another ending to unlock, and that's the good ending, and that will be our next trophy. So just click through the dialogue in order to exhaust it. And then we'll start with the good ending. So we're in a diner. Again, just click through the dialogue in order to exhaust it. Wait for the section to reload, and you'll see that a massive massacre has occurred, and there is a ghoul in the far left corner. Credits will roll, and you'll have Dad ? For a trophy. I've just cut out the credits here, but we're going to load our previous saved game. One where we were watching the shower with the video recorder. So now we've got all the endings, we're just going to do a little bit of a clean up of a couple of the other trophies. So we're going to head back out from there to Bill. Going to click no. Then exit the room. Go into the barbecue to get the coal. And then move back to the left to the courtyard. Go back into room 3. Which is the one where the lady was. Go through the dialogue and then into the room. And you'll see Bree. After more dialogue with her, you'll unlock a trophy called Tainted Footage. Exhaust the dialogue and go back into our room, which is in the far top left. Back through the glass door, sliding door, and out to see Bree. Click the option no at the end of the dialogue. Once that's finished, go back outside the motel, back to your truck, and then back into room 3. Use the coal on the fire, again to flush Bill out. And then back outside and back into your room at the far top left. Bree is on the bed and you'll get the trophy Get It? We're coming really close to the end now. It should be our last 2 trophies to go. So to get these, again, load a saved game. So we're going to want to load the game where we're in the plane and we give Mark the gun. I didn't give him the gun. So this time we're going to want to give Mark the gun. Exhaust all the dialogue options. Now Mark is dead, but we have the gun. As much like we did in the first scenario. This time we're going to move on though. We're going to go through the heavy doors to the right. At least I thought we were. No, we are. Once we've used the door controls, we could go through the heavy door. And then again move north, keep moving north, back to the rear of the plane. At this point I seem to get a little bit confused about which hatch I need to exit out of, so I end up going back to the bottom, but we do need to be exiting through the top of the plane like I was originally intending to. So again moving up and then to the plane rear, back through the door hatch, and then south through the door, into the restrooms, back into economy class, and back into business class. Once we're at the bottom of business class, we should have the same dialogue that we had previously, and the guy should appear. Once the dialogue is over, you can choose yes. I do choose yes, honestly. And then Neeson is killed with a bullet to the head. Once the scene ends, go back into the plane cockpit. So through the door and into the cockpit. Then interact with Mark, who's at the controls of the plane. Once the dialogue is finished, go back to the business class area of the plane. And then interact with Neeson's dead body. And then keep going north. Into the restrooms. Back through the door hatch and then into the rear of the plane, the luggage area. All the way back to the dead monster. Click through this dialogue, which seems to have stuck. And then you'll get a cutscene where you've got to do more dialogue with Mark, who's at the controls of the plane. Get into the co-pilot seat. As we get through some more dialogue between Bree and Mark while they're landing this plane and coming home safely. We'll replay the image from the subway that we saw previously. Again, just clicking through the dialogue options. There's a lot of that in this game. I have to say I actually fairly enjoyed this game though, to be fair. I liked the dark undertones. Once we're in the next scene, interact with Bree. Exhaust all the dialogue and go through the green door on the left. Once you're in the hallway, again there'll be some more dialogue to skip through. The trophy will unlock. Is this the right thing to do? And that should be your last trophy and therefore the platinum. Thanks for watching this How To Trophies video today. Please leave us a like, a share or subscribe. Give us a comment in the comment section below. Thank you for watching.